welcome back to another video today. Of course, like and subscribe, but today we're talking about Obito versus Itachi. Now let's get the main thing out the way. White Mask Obito and Jubito has way too much for Itachi to handle. Alive, dead, reanimated, whatever you want to say, Itachi cannot handle them in any aspects of a battle. And for the Itachi defenders out there that I know are watching this video sometimes, they may say, what about the Tosca Blade and Yadamir? And of course, those are just like the Sage's six paths orbs. Like, they can block and deflect anything. The problem is Obito, at least in White Mask and Jubito form, is way too fast, so he would catch Itachi off guard. He has way too many buffs. In White Mask, he has 6-tailed beasts at his disposal, so his chakra natures are off the chart. Third, Jubito can directly counter the Tosca Blade. Probably not the Tosca Blade, but can directly counter the Yadamir with, of course, the six paths orbs. And here's another problem with at least the Yadamir. It only protects the front half of his body. Since we will never see Itachi gain EMS or what his full Susanoo would look like, of course we theoretically have an idea of what a full mode, like a full Susanoo of Itachi would look like in the games. I'm not using that as canon. I'm not using the games as canon. I know some people do. I'm not using the full Susanoo in canon. In canon, he has a half-made Susanoo. Now, if you had a full Susanoo, if he had the EMS, maybe that would put up a good enough fight for White Mask Obito. But Jubito, you're climbing the ranks to get up to Hashirama, Madara, Naruto, Sasuke, all that level. Like, he's the weakest. Jubito is probably the weakest six paths user that we will ever see in the show, of course. Now let's go to the more realistic parts of what Itachi could realistically do to Orange and Yellow Mask Obito. Orange and Yellow Mask Obito is, of course, still not recovering from his injuries, but is still reliant on the Zetsus as they take over his body. And before I point out anything, Obito is nowhere near Kage level. If someone says, oh, what about his fight with Minato? Minato absolutely thrashes Obito in this fight. And in case of this scenario, since we know Itachi is distinguished as a genius and prodigy up to the level of Minato, he would distinguish how to fight Obito in a fight with wits and techniques. I think Itachi would have found a way around it. Of course, he does try with the Amaterasu, but Obito simply just throws that off completely. But he tried. He did try. Now, there's also another statement in the Naruto manga. I'm not putting it up because I don't know how to edit that well. I'm getting there, though. But you'll see this in the new year. So, I am getting there. My fault. There's also a statement in the manga where Obito says, the leaf is now mine to claim since Itachi is not here. In this aspect, Obito saw Itachi as a threat. Not a threat in terms of power, but a threat in terms of intel. Because Obito does not see Itachi more or less of a physical threat. Obito probably most likely knows I could take Itachi in a fight when it comes down to it. But he knows that Itachi feeds the leaf intel. He knows his loyalty still rely on the leaf. That's why Obito rarely tries to be around Itachi, nor tries to talk too much around Itachi, because he doesn't want to give up his secret. And Itachi can distinguish and diagnose pretty much everything on the fly, much like Obito can. So when Itachi dies, he's like, oh, no more intel's getting leaked. They won't know much more about me. They can't come prepared, because Itachi was still leaking intel to the leaf. He can come unannounced, unacquainted. No one will know. No one will be prepared for me. I'm finna jump the leaf. That was his go-ahead signal of, I need to go start a war for real. With Kabuto's help, of course. But there's that. It was more of an intelligent intel threat. It's more like a leak in a data rather than fighting a whole virus. Itachi was nothing to him, at least at that moment. Now, reanimated Itachi versus Orange and Yellow Mask Obito is a much better fight, where I think Itachi would win in that aspect, just because Itachi's not held back with his chakra sickness and can reasonably keep Obito at bay to not use his Kamui over and over to where it could wear him down. For example, if a live Itachi and orange or yellow mask Obito were to go at it, Obito would just make it into a stamina match where Obito knows that Itachi has to rather give up or die at the end of the match, just because he can't keep up with him for as long as he knows he can. That's how Obito would, orange and yellow mask Obito would decide that fight for sure. Now, with Reanimated Itachi, without the sickness but still not being able to be at full power, we saw him go up against significantly powerful opponents like an Nagato, even though Nagato is still depleted from his chakra, and Kabuto to a certain extent. Even though Sasuke was there, Sasuke was more of like a hindrance in that fight. Now, at least in this fight, in this reanimated version of Itachi, since he doesn't have the sickness, he does put up more of a fight and maybe defeats orange and yellow mask Obito, just because Obito would have nothing to counter Itachi. He can't drag out the fight because, one, he's reanimated, so he doesn't have the sickness with him. Two, Itachi's smart, so he will break down, most likely develop a counter to the Kamui Jutsu, just like Minato does in the fight against him. So that would be GG's. That would be GG's, at least in the reanimated fight. Any other fight with a live Itachi, at least with orange and yellow mask, just becomes a drawn out fight because Obito knows he's not going to be able to successfully kill him on his own, but he will let the chakra sickness try to kill him. And of course, if you say that, what about the Tosuke Blade? What about the Yadomir? Obito is way too fast and agile for Itachi to even, at least a live Itachi, to even keep up with him in an orange and yellow mask fight, unless he somehow catches him off guard with the Tosuke Blade. But the only question about the Tosuke Blade is, can the Tosuke Blade counteract Obito's Kamui? And since we don't know that answer, that's up to debate in the comment section. Anyway, like and subscribe. That is my opinion. I think Reanimated Itachi versus orange or yellow mask Obito would win, and of course Rage Obito that we see much earlier on in the show. Other than that, each version of Obito beyond that would win a fight against Itachi. Anyway, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.